Welcome to GreenBites, Sustainable Asia's weekly environmental news podcast. I am Bonnie Au.
And I'm Stella Chen. In just 10 short minutes, we are going to tell you a hand-picked green story from Asia that we think you should know about.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed our first episode of GreenBites. And let us know what you think about the podcast. Our social media handle is @SustainableAsia. This week, we're going to have a look at the alleged nuclear power plant's leak in China, give an update on China's carbon neutrality plan, discuss mining contamination in Indonesia, and dive into a recent smuggling case of endangered species in Hong Kong.
Earlier last week, CNN reported that the US government was assessing a report of a possible leak in the Taishan nuclear power plant in China's southern Guangdong province. Late last month, French nuclear reactor company Pharmaceum reached out to the U.S. Department of Energy for technical assistance after it warned of a, quote, imminent radiological threat. The company also accused the Chinese Safety Authority of exceeding the acceptable limits for radiation detection outside the nuclear plant to avoid having to shut down. The Chinese government has later admitted that there was an increase in radiation levels due to damage to the cladding of some fuel rods, which are sealed metal tubes that contain nuclear substance that fuel the nuclear reactor. Authorities reassured that there was no leakage and that such a problem was common.
Just to fill our audience in with a bit of background, Pharmaceum has been contracted to work on the plant's maintenance. The company is a subsidiary of Électricité de France, or EDF, and it jointly owns the Taishan plant with China General Nuclear Power Group. The China state-owned group was added to a U.S. entity list in August 2019, barring its access to U.S. technology. When Pharmaceum reached out to the U.S., it requested a waiver which would allow them to share American technical assistance to resolve the issue at the nuclear plant.
What is it so alarming that it has raised international media attention?
In EDF's memo, as mentioned in the CNN exclusive report, the Taishan reactor had reached 90% of the allegedly revised limit, and cited concerns that the plant operator may be petitioning the state's Nuclear Safety Regulatory Authority to further increase the shutdown limit, adding more risk to on-site workers. But following multiple meetings, U.S. officials believe that there is no severe safety threat to the workers at the plant.
Yeah, the Taishan nuclear power plant later came out with a statement to clear concerns on June 14, saying that the environmental readings are normal. In a press conference in Beijing the following day, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian also said there is no abnormality in the radiation environment around the nuclear power plant. Its safety is guaranteed.
For people who don't know about the Taishan nuclear power plant, its two reactors were said to be the most powerful in the world in 2019, able to generate enough electricity for the annual consumption of 5 million Chinese users, while preventing the emission of 21 million tons of carbon dioxide a year.
Wow, that's a great potential for clean energy. But nuclear power plants have long been a debatable means of power supply because it's sourced from uranium, a non-renewable and radioactive resource that can pose devastating consequences if leakages occur. Nuclear plants also require massive amounts of water, and the radioactive waste currently has no long-term solution for its disposal.
Moving on, we're going to look at how China is doing with its goal to reach carbon neutrality by 2060. In a recent news report by the South China Morning Post, research suggested that China's carbon capture capacity could at least double by 2025.
So carbon capture is a process by which you capture carbon emissions on site and transfer them to a storage site where they will never again be released to the atmosphere. China already has 14 carbon capture utilization and storage projects, or CCUS for short, in operation. Together, they can capture 2.1 million tons of carbon. And if there's enough funding from the Chinese government's emission trading scheme revenues, a further 8 CCUS projects can be added. And for your information, China's carbon trading scheme is a new system that allows the buying and selling of emission credits.
So these CCUS projects will be key for China's participation in global efforts to mitigate climate change. China is the world's largest carbon emitter, accounting for 27% of global carbon emissions in 2019. This is more than the emissions from the US, India, and the European Union combined. And a lot of those carbon emissions come from the country's heavy reliance on fossil fuels and industrial export-focused economy. Analysts said that by implementing CCUS projects, China can cut its carbon emissions by 60% by 2050. But that is estimated to cost the country about $450 billion US.
Also, China is not the first country in Asia trying out CCUS projects. Japan established its first full-chain CCUS project that captures and stores carbon dioxide from a coastal oil refinery on Hokkaido Island in northern Japan in 2016. And the South Korean government selected CCUS technology as one of its core technologies for green growth, and its carbon capture plan has been in place since 2011.
Okay, looking now at Indonesia, the world's biggest exporter of the metal tin. Reuters reported that tin miners in Indonesia have been venturing out to sea to source the metal, turning the lakes of the mining hub of Bangka Belitung Islands turquoise in color, with high acidic content.
So, what's so special about tin? Why is it so sought after?
Well, tin is a raw material that can be used in a lot of things, from food packaging to electronics and even green technologies. Tin miners would head out by boat to wooden encampments of pontoons off the coast where they'd be dredging the seabed for these tin ores.
How exactly do they extract tin ores?
Well, workers on these pontoons use pipes that are over 20 meters long to suck up sand from the seabed. The sand that gets sucked up with the seawater is then run across a bed of plastic mats to trap the glittery black sand which has the tin ores.
But if they're going to be digging like that in the seabed, wouldn't that affect marine life down there?
That's exactly where the problem comes in. With the production of tin mining ramping up in the area, it's creating more and more tension with local fishermen, who said their catches have been reduced because of mining activities, and some of which are illegal. Such activities pollute the seabed, turning the once pristine waters muddy. Fishing nets can also get tangled up in offshore mining equipment. And land-based tin mining, as we know, is not any better. It is subjected to heavy metal contamination and pollution problems, and can cause damage to nearby forests in the area. However, the current supply chain shortage of electronic metals since the COVID pandemic has pushed up tin prices, attracting more everyday laborers into the business, whether it be land or offshore tin mining.
We'll end this episode with our last news bite on Hong Kong's largest speedboat smuggling bust. The Customs Department was in a joint operation with mainland Chinese authorities. Together, they have seized 180 million Hong Kong dollar worth of goods, or 23 million US dollars. Among the huge haul of items were not just luxury goods like handbags and cosmetic, but also a significant amount of endangered species. Authority confiscated over 2.4 tons of pangolin scales, worth 60 million Hong Kong dollars. Other seized delicacies include shark fins, sea cucumbers, bird nests, abalone, and dry fish bladders, as well as critically endangered plants such as live rock and star cacti, which originated in the US and Mexico.
So this is all we have for this week's Green Bites. Please share your thoughts with us on our social media platforms with the hashtag #ShareYourBite.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast channels for more content, and share our podcast with your friends and family. If you're interested in sponsoring GreenBites or have any comments about our content, we would love to hear from you. Email us using communications@sustainableasia.co or drop us a line on social media. Our handle is @sustainableasia. Thank you for listening.